Okay, today we have on the podcast Stephanie Stabenow.
Yes, she is part of the IWD406 core group.
She is, and she is absolutely lovely. A newbie to Montana. She hails from the Garden State.
That's right.
Which is in your neck of the woods, Kate.
Yeah, East Coast. Yay.
Yay. Yeah.
And she's an entrepreneur.
Stephanie has so many amazing things going on in her life right now. She's in transition. She's starting her own company, Rebar, which is the bar method. And she's incorporated her own unique technique and style with it all. Mm-hmm. Really amazing. And my first impression of Stephanie was, wow, this girl has such an electric energy around her. I met her at a boutique downtown in Whitefish, and I was like, wow, I love her style. Like, it's super cool. Bright red hair, neon fingernails, super funky. I walked in the store. She's like, you need this dress, girl. You need this dress. It's your color. And I was like,
that's a great thing from a stranger to say to you.
I was like, are you a stylist? Because I need you in my life. And just she's got such a fun energy to her. What was your first impression of Stephanie?
I think I first met her at the IWD406 ski. And she was dressed beautifully like this forest fairy elf.
Yeah.
She had vines coming down her arms and the bright neon green fingernails and this gorgeous red hair.
Yeah. I think she said she was poison ivy.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, you have represented poison ivy for sure. It's super beautiful, super fun, has a magical personality. And I know we talked a little bit in the episode about transitioning and, you know, what happens during that. We all go through transitional phases throughout life.
We're women. That happens.
Sometimes it really sucks.
Even when we're young and we don't want it, it happens.
Yeah. And sometimes it comes out of left field. And it's like, wow, I'm forced into this and without my permission, right? And how do you handle that? How do you handle that when it's not your permission to transition?
Oh, you have to wake up and just keep walking.
Yeah.
You just have to keep going.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can stomp your feet a little bit and cry and
I
raise your fist at the sky, but you just got to keep moving on.
That feels like a song. Stomp your feet and cry. Raise your fist to the sky.
I don't think I've actually ever done that action, so I don't even know why I said it. Yes, I'm just going to raise my fist.
Oh, I raise my middle finger to the sky sometimes. I do. I'm like, especially when I'm very stubborn. And I have a difficult time with change in general, like moving. Lived in my same house my entire life, transitioning into college, transitioning into marriage, transitioning into motherhood. All those pieces, I'm always like...
I love change. And my husband says it's just that I love chaos. But I'm like, no, I just like change. I don't know.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Maybe I'm more into maybe being raised in chaos, and then I like more control.
That's why he says I love chaos, because I grew up with a family of 9, and he just pictures it as being chaos all the time. And I'm
That's
like,
true.
No, it wasn't. But
yeah, no, I'm sure it was very controlled chaos.
I had these moments. Of course, he does.
Yeah. I know she talks about transitioning from being from the East Coast, coming to Montana. What's that? Being a new person living in Montana and embracing those opportunities here. And we have such a plethora of opportunities right in front of us to do amazing things here. I think it's just individual approach.
Yes.
And we dove deep into individualistic approach into transitioning.
Yes. So we will transition.
Yes. Into the podcast. To her interview. So here we go. Without further ado, Stephanie Stabenow.
You're listening to the IWD 406 Podcast with your hosts, Julie Walls and Kate McLaughlin.
Thank you, Kate. Today we have Stephanie Stabenow. Now, right? Stephanie Stabenow?
Stabbing now.
Stabbing now.
Step on me, stab me now.
Stab me now. Okay. Stephanie Stabenow previously resided in New Jersey before making a bold decision to relocate to Montana in early 2021 to explore new horizons. Little did she know that her first weekend in Montana would involve acquiring her Barre Certification. Stephanie's passion passion for Barre began nearly a decade ago. And thanks to Barre Method, she brings a unique perspective and style of Barre to the Valley, which is Flathead Valley in Montana. Stephanie values connecting with each individual in her classes, leading with positivity and finding joy, and helping others discover their inner strength and beauty. Without further ado, clap track. Oh, clap track. Yay! Stephanie!
Stadium sound.
Yes, we love stadium sound. Awesome.
Hi,
Stephanie.
guys.
Hi, Stephanie. How are you, Stephanie?
I am so excited to be a part of this.
Yes.
Starting my Thursday morning with you guys, and then it's just going to be a great day.
It is going to be a
Yeah.
great day, despite bipolar weather outside.
Moody Montana.
Moody,
Montana.
A little snow, a little rain,
Yeah.
a little sunshine.
Yeah. Well, Stephanie, we're going to get right into it. We're going to start with our first question, which is obviously in the beginning, and I introduced you. You're not originally from Montana. So let's talk about where you're originally from.
I'm originally from New Jersey. I lived there till I was about 30.
30? Okay.
Yeah, I grew up there, grew up all over. Most recently, my dad we acquired a family farm where we have a bunch of retired horses, and now we
nice.
have retired people like my father.
Yes, yes.
But we really just have a bunch of animals that people have given to us that maybe they don't have the time or they didn't have the space to take care of. So that's how we've acquired all of our...
So are you a rescue type?
It's not
ranch?
even a formal rescue. It's just people who know and have seen our property. And it's pretty much a good retirement home for anybody.
Awesome. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, 20 acres in New Jersey because it is the Garden State. It's kind
Yeah.
of hard to visualize, but I promise you, it's beautiful.
And New Jersey is more than the little area of Newark. That's why she doesn't have an accent. It's bigger than most people think, too.
Yes.
Oh my
I've
gosh.
also been told people think when I say I'm from Jersey, people are like, you don't have an accent, but you talk fast. So that makes sense.
What's is it Jersey accent? Give me an accent.
It's
Is
like
it
a Staten Island kind of thing.
Oh, gotcha.
All I can think is like Marissa Tomei.
Oh, Marissa Tomei.
Yeah, like my cousin Vinny.
Yeah, what did she say in that movie that was like iconic? I'm drawing
What
it.
a freaking nightmare.
Yes, I love
I didn't
that.
want to curse it, but
No, we have an explicit podcast, so we're good. Yes, that's awesome. So growing up there for 30 years, which I always find too, I had this conversation the other day about being raised from a certain area and then never moving away. And I'm 40 years deep into living where I'm from, which is Illinois. And then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, let's move. Let's make this change. I honestly feel like I should have moved earlier to get some of that exposure and experience. And not to say that's a bad thing to live in your community for your entire life, but I do feel like that exploration piece just adds a whole new vibe. It adds a whole new thing for
It's a new learning curve to
It's
you,
a new
too,
learning
for-
curve.
yeah,
for sure.
it is. And it comes at the right time, I feel, to make that change. And even I was never a risk taker. I was never like very much of an adventure person or
Right.
So moving across the country to Montana was a big risk.
Oh, yeah.
And then all the adventures I've had since then have just snowballed. So it's not just like this, run away and move in a new place. It's like that started being so open to trying all the things Montana has to offer.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
And I think what we should get into later is into the transitional piece, like how we all deal with transition. But let's first pull back a little bit and start with your move. What was that like going from New Jersey all the way across US and migrating up into Montana, which is the Wild West?
And, how you got here.
Yeah,
Like,
and how
some
you got
people
here.
fly, some people drive, train.
I decided to take a risk in 2020 and move across the country for the gentleman I was dating. Yes. And I packed up my car, or I packed up a minivan that I rented, put my dog in it, had my best friend and I drive. We left, it was late January. We decided to make the drive in a minivan.
Yeah.
So not across the High Line. So we took like the snowiest route you could take. And it was beautiful. I'm all about the synchronicity and like symbols. As we crossed into Montana, it was like the sun was just coming up. There was snow everywhere. I'm not even kidding you. Talking Heads, This Must Be the Place came on. It was like, home is where I want to be.
Oh, I love that.
And it was just, there's so much magic about just that.
And the High Line, when you're coming across too, is just magic about it's flat, and then you just see those mountains rising up before you.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
so stunning. Yeah.
We were driving, and it's the roads. It's just, there's not much to look at. There was like a pack of bald eagles on the side of the road at one point, and I'm like, wow, these things are huge.
Yeah. And they're symbolic too.
Yeah.
To strength. They're like my, I don't know what you call it, your spirit animal.
Your spirit bird.
It really
maybe.
is. Seriously, I feel like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But go ahead. Sorry.
No, it was just all of these things, and we did really well driving here in the snow. Yes. Except there was just one part, and I was like 5 minutes from my final destination, and the car spun out because it's icy. We're in a minivan, and the road was a sharp turn, but we were looking at horses.
Yeah. Yeah. It happens.
It does. It does. I left New Jersey at 4 a.m. on a Friday and landed in Montana at 5 p.m. on Sunday. I was on a
that was a
mission.
hustle.
Yeah, holy buckets.
Yeah, just wanted to get out here and just wanted life to start.
Yeah. How was it? So what was it like coming into Montana and you settled into Whitefish, right?
Yeah, I moved in with my partner at the time.
Yes.
And he's been out here for a long time and established, and, moved into his house, and
Yeah.
it was still a blank slate. So I was able to help make it feel more like home when I was there, you
Right.
know? So it was nice. I brought some artwork from home and put it up, and just made it a little different.
I also think too, sorry, Kate. I also think too, coming out here sometimes with somebody, and you have a different story, Kate. You came out here. You had your little guys.
I'm just a solo person too.
Yeah, you came out here. You were like, let's do this shit. And and I felt like a little bit of a cushion because I have my partner that I came out here with my children.
Right.
And how did that help you? Do you feel like that was, I have somebody here. I can easily transition to this area.
Yes and no.
Okay.
My partner has an amazing group of friends, and I became involved with them. And they're mostly, I think, besides two, are transplants.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to come out here and move into somebody else's life. But also, I needed to make my own connections. I was really adamant that I needed to have my own friends, my own space, something that was just mine, so that I wasn't stuck relying on one person all the time. I do like the independence. I love doing things alone. It's such an adventure.
Yeah. That transitional phase. And I think everybody is different as far as how we navigate through it. Let's go into that, because I think the transition piece is a fascinating conversation. Transitioning and with moving, transitioning through the phases of life. Let's talk about how each of us approaches transition.
I approach it because it's in my face, and it's you have to deal with it or not.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
kind of like,
Yeah.
especially getting older and stuff. And then transitioning into, I felt lost at some point. What am I doing? Why have the other things not worked? And where do I need to be going? And then it was more about reconnecting to who I was when I was younger. I was that
Right.
17-year-old person that was not afraid of anything, had
You
no
feel like that-
fear.
you feel like that
I feel
now?
like that now. But
Now?
it took me a while to connect back to that feeling.
Yeah, that's
and everything's possible.
And it's interesting that you went
because-
back to something, like a version of yourself that had all this.
Exactly. And I was
Yeah.
like, I could do anything.
Yeah.
So it's, well, why did I stop believing that?
Yeah, why
So
do we
it's fun
stop? Why do
to
you think
just
that
like,
happens?
life is real, and it gets hard, and
Yeah,
it's
that's true.
painful, and it breaks your heart. And so I think there's times that, oh my God, if I do that again, I might experience heartache again. I might do this and whatever, instead of just being blind. I'm not, I think I am at a point where it's like blind to all the bad things that can happen, and just opening my brain to, why can't I just imagine good things happening? The possibilities of great things happening.
Right. And
So it's a flushing of your brain.
I think me personally, Steph and Kate, I think I'm still trying to figure that out. I've always felt like I've always had a cushion. My family, my partner.
Yeah.
And then as far as transitioning in life and things that knock you back,
Oh, yeah.
like massive setbacks, right? And really, even though you have those cushions, you have to figure it out on yourself and move through it. And we all move through whatever the setback is differently. And so how do you approach transitioning with setback? Steph.
Today's episode of the IWD406 Podcast is sponsored by Electric. Hey, this is Kate. Electric is my stage name when I'm a singer-songwriter. Okay, now that we've established this, We can move on. I've created a songwriting challenge for you to write your first song or your next one. To find out more about the Songs Inside You challenge, visit songsinsideyou.com today. We need lots of music in the world. Please write more songs.
I don't think I can call it setbacks. I'm going to spin this because, not spin it, but this is actually like how I feel. Yeah, in the moment, things can feel like a setback. But how many great things have you had because things broke down?
Right.
You know, like how many opportunities or what did you grow from? It's like you're clearing the slate and you're like, all right, I got that over with. What's next? And it's hard sometimes to get to that point. It really is. So much things have to break so you can rebuild them stronger and better.
And it sucks.
Yeah.
When things are breaking. Yeah. Sorry. Let's take a deep breath.
I think we need to think of it as labor. Whether you've had a kid or not, labor's painful. Right. Unless you get an epidural, you're going to feel it. But you're going to feel the labor at some point of, there's something that needs to come out, and it's painful when it does come out. But when it comes out, it's probably better than you expected.
Yeah, and
it's true. I think my go-to with that, with labor and like real nasty parts of like things I've had to walk through and journeys, I just disassociate. I would be truthful about it. I'm like, I just want to blank out.
You have to do that too. It's a survival tactic.
Do you think people? Okay, good.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's certain things that are just like, nope, not going there. Boom.
Yeah.
Wall is built.
Yeah, but then I sit in it too long. I disassociate for far too long, especially with giving birth or going through what I've gone through. I'm like, I'm so detached. I don't even have an emotions at that point. Do you guys have you ever experienced that?
I feel like you and I, Julie, have very similar kind of personality types.
Okay.
Where we're busy. We want to be doing something. So it's a distraction.
Yes.
But it's also, there's so many parts to that too. I love what I do with Barre because I give people an hour to get out of their own heads. And you can't focus on anything else. But you also have to sit in your feelings and deal with it sometimes because otherwise, personally, it's going to show up in the worst spots. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm going to break because someone took my parking spot and they really didn't. Like these simple little straws that could break the camel's back.
Yeah.
No.
If you just you can't avoid it forever.
Yeah.
And that's
only
why
temporary.
I do think movement does help get it out of your body. Artistic ways. Something you have to get those feelings that are binding you up out of you. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it takes a lot more than one time. And movement does that. It's, I'm going to shake it out and just sing it out, draw it out.
I think too, like when I was in New Jersey, I could go to my dad's farm and let my dogs run around and can just be by myself on the property and outside.
And connect with nature.
And also, I love dogs. We can go talk forever about that. But
I do love
watching them run around and be so happy and swim in the pond or chase a squirrel. It's the simple things and reconnecting. And here in Montana, I don't ski or snowboard, which is sacrilegious to live here in a way. But I love the cold. I love being outside. I love the snow. So that's also a really wonderful accessibility factor I've had to like help me kind of reconnect. But it took a while for me to realize, this is actually what I really need.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? And I think it's interesting because I think the self-talk factor is an important piece as well. Are you all self-talkers?
Oh, yeah.
So walking out in nature, I love, you know what I also love is we're going to get into the Barre method and your methodology behind it.
Yeah.
But I also love something like that distract, the throwing yourself into a new project or going outside and connecting with all the different opportunities. But we can't forget that we're also thinking and we're having this dialogue in our head. How many of you guys, and no one can see this, but how many of you guys self-talk? And how do you go about doing it?
Like self-talk, I'm not sure
like
what
I know,
you mean.
meaning
I've done the bad self-talk. You suck. I don't believe you just did that.
Right.
Of course this stuff's going to happen to you.
Exactly.
Well, my thing is like when I am in a shitty ass mood or I'm going through a transitional phase or trauma's coming at me or whatnot, that's resurfacing, right? So what is the great thing about living in Montana is we get to go and explore. But while we're exploring, things just don't magically disappear. Okay. So that little self-talk thing comes up. For me, the way that I express self-talk, honestly, this is the craziest thing, but it's absolutely helped me, is going on a hike going for a walk, and then I take the joy of a phone, right? You've got the voice memos.
Yeah.
So I will literally talk to myself in a voice memo as if I'm talking to a friend. And I know people are like, is she crazy? No, this really does help. And then I will like just get it all out. God, nobody needs to access my voice memos.
The stream of consciousness
Yes.
is such a good, healthy tool.
Yes.
And then I replay it to analyze, oh gosh, Julie, you hear it back and go, wow. And then you can see it from a therapist or an outsider's perspective and
Yeah.
go, okay, this is the areas that you need to focus on. Some people do that. Some people have a friend that they walk with and I'm going to data dump all on you. Do you guys do that? Or do you do like journaling, like some journaling type work?
I write songs, I think.
Yes.
If something
that's right.
happens and that gets that out. My walks are my meditative time.
Okay.
Or if I'm thinking on projects, it's all positive. It's all something, or half the time I dance and hike.
Good.
Put on some good music.
I know.
And
I
you're just like,
I love your reels. So follow Kate on her reels. They're amazing. What do you do, Steph?
I moved out here with my dog. He's
Yeah.
6. He's perfect. Of course, all dogs are.
Yes.
But hanging out with him, honestly, I'll take him for walks. I talk to him a lot.
Okay.
And I feel he and I are very connected. And I know that he hears me and like the things that he does. If I'm upset, he'll put his paw on me and like get me to settle down.
Yes.
And just having that, but also the negative self-talk, I'm so guilty of it because we just get so stuck sometimes. But my apartment, I have quite a few mirrors because it's really dark in there.
Okay.
So I'll catch myself doing a negative self-talk and I'll walk backwards and I'll see myself in the mirror like, you didn't mean that. This isn't really going to be the case here.
Good.
And it's, by the way, your hair looks good. Something to just
to stop
yourself.
it. And
Yeah.
it is, the checking yourself is important.
and then
I've
seeing yourself talk.
Yeah.
It's similar to the voice memo, I think,
Yeah.
which I don't want to hear my own voice.
Yes. Yes.
But I will for this.
Yes. And what I love is if you go online, there's a lot of different things when people are going through transitional phases of things to think about. And I'm just going to share the little list because I loved it. And I want to hear your thoughts on this. One of the things is if you are going through a transitional phase, the things to ask yourself is, where am I? Oftentimes for me, I disassociate so deeply that I'm like, where the fuck am I right now? Like in regards to not just like location wise, but
Yeah.
where am I? What am I thinking? What am I doing? How is this? What's happening right now? Do you guys do that? What's your thoughts on that?
I think I probably go to where do you want to go? Because
Okay,
then
so
it
you-
helps me focus.
More future steps.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I literally will be, this is what happened. This is how, like, obviously this doesn't feel good, but why doesn't it make me feel good?
So you're thinking in the more mindfully in the moment. So that is
Yeah.
a where I am. You go more into like,
Where do I want to be? Hopefully. Take me out of here. Where's the
results.
portal?
yes, the portal opens up.
Fast forward button.
I love that. Do you ever reflect on the next question, which would be to ask yourself, what do I need to leave behind? I never do that.
No.
I don't
that's
ever do
not
that.
a question I
Yeah.
would ask.
Do you do that?
No, I should.
Yeah.
It's just I don't think
sometimes
I
we
could
keep
never
carrying
really. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it goes from being something that you can relive when you think about it,
Yeah.
or it can just be something that happened to you.
Right.
It's no.
I feel like if
It's easier to say when the moments have passed, because for me, those moments have passed. When you're in it, you're just in it, and you are swimming, and you are doing anything you can to keep your head above water. And I don't think I had any real rational thoughts during those times. Just like breathe.
yeah.
Treading water. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think with the transitional piece, if you do ask yourself that, you're asking yourself, what are you willing to let go? And a lot of time as women and as men too, we hoard and hold and throw it back in our backpack filled with racks and bricks, right? So
I see
that
where you're going now.
piece of letting it go is a really difficult thing for some people to, even if it's something that's so toxic that you're
Yeah.
like, I can't let this go for whatever reason.
The best piece of advice I got when I was going through one of my hardest times out here was think about 3 months from now. Don't think about a year from now, 6 months, 3 months from now. And then in that moment, where were you and what was going on 3 months ago? Because the progress that happens in that time frame is, honestly, it's blown my mind to do it that way.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that. Yeah, because you do have to have some timeline awareness. And I think that's really important. Okay. So
And it's also good to reflect, because then you can realize, wow, I accomplished a lot in 3 months.
Or, oh my gosh, I thought this was the end of the world.
Yes,
And look,
yes,
again, things broke down to make room for better things.
So that aligns with the other question that was thrown out on the internet is, where can I grow? So you're looking at that timeline of like, where can I change habits? Where can I change my mindset? And I think that's a really hard thing for people to wrap their heads around. What do you guys think?
It's hard because it takes a long time to change your mindset, or it did for me anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
To stop doing the negative talk to myself and to start filling it up with good things, probably a year. I'm like, it's not an overnight process at all.
You wish it was. You wish it was.
Wish it was. But if you tend to it every day, then you eventually get there.
Yeah. You were talking about like the transitional piece of, there goes my thought.
That's okay. We have editing. We're good.
Just about being in the moment or thinking about it. The most recent weeks, I've been dealing with some kind of hiccups, we'll say. And I spent this weekend pushing myself out of my comfort zone.
Good.
And it wasn't like I felt good, I'm in the moment, but I had feedback from people that I've never met before who were just like, there's something like your energy, your vibe. And it was so validating. And it was like, okay, I pushed myself out of my comfort zone. I didn't have time to think about all the other stuff. My mind was busy with other things. And that really helped.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's people that can see you, that know your heart, and they can see, obviously the chatter that's overriding certain things. Right. And then I think it's wonderful when we have such good friends that can see the process. Like they can see the process of growth or process of transitioning and how you're working through it. Because a lot of people don't know how to work through things. They really, truly don't. And they're constantly in a state of fight or flight. Mm-hmm. And that self-reflection is a really freaking hard thing for some people to wrap their heads around.
I know when things are going like poorly that are out of my control, I will do something. I'll make a decision that I know is going to make me upset, but I'll do it to myself because that's giving me some semblance of control. And that is so horrible.
Right.
But now it's being able to recognize it when that happens. And okay, so this is what I want to do. Why do I want to do this? It's going to make me feel terrible. So is it worth it?
I think that why. I love you touch point on the why. And this is the other piece too, that I feel like now, I wish I would have known then, is who do I aspire to be? And I think sometimes we think, oh, we need to be like this person. No, I'm not anywhere near this person. And I think as I'm aging, and I've had this conversation, we just talked about this, Kate, with friends. And I'm like, this idea of we hit these moments in life where we just get lost. And I think for me, I'm the type of person where I have to hit bottom. I had to go through some major shit and then dig my way out and go, I don't want to do that again. And this is why I was who I was or who I am. And this is what caused that deficit or that diving into that hole head first. And then now I'm like, okay, I don't want to be anybody else. My mom always gave me the best advice. Don't ever aspire to be anybody else but yourself.
That's awesome advice.
Yeah, just be you. But then I'm like, who am I? You know what I mean? And
it's a lifelong process.
It is a lifelong process. But I will say, and we had this conversation the other day, I'm going into my 50s. And I feel like I am grasping the concept of who I am. But the bigger thing is not just who I am, but how I want to impact. How I want to impact life. How do I want to impact my family, my people?
Yeah.
Do you guys think about, is it something that you're grappling with, or is it something I'm there, man. I'm getting there.
I will say,
sorry, I don't mean to go there.
This kind of ties into even like my whole bar thing, but International Women's Day group.
Yeah.
Surrounding myself, having the opportunity to meet women who are in this valley, this state, and surrounding myself with empowered women and just listening to what they're up to or how that, like, something that got them where they are it's truly like such a beautiful reset. And first of all, thank you, ladies.
Oh, thank you. That's awesome.
But it really does make a difference when you surround yourself. And I've never had, I want to be like this person. But there are qualities that you see from others, or there's ambition, determination, tenacity, all of those things that I recognize I'm not the best at. But being around people who do it is so inspiring. Every time I leave a meeting, I feel like I'm just had 15 cups of coffee and I just need to go just plan the universe out because I'm that excited about it.
Awesome.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Testimony. That's awesome. Join the group.
Women together do awesome things.
Join the network. Yes. I love it, Stephanie. And I just think that I feel like where we're at in the space of time, we desperately need one another. We need our men. We obviously, it takes everybody. But I do feel like there's something different energy wise. There's something that we can pull from if we have women from all aspects,
all different ages.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Jinx. Yeah. Ages. Because I feel 10 years ago, I'm like, oh my gosh, where was Kate? Where was Stephanie? Where was Heidi? Where were all these people at?
10 years ago.
I'm like, what the heck? And then you just go, you're driving down this road just in life and going, I try to stay in my lane. And then all of a sudden, sometimes I'm in somebody else's lane or whatever, or took a detour. And I feel like I get lost. You get lost. And then how you try to find your way back, it really is a benefit to have women you're surrounded by women that have been there, done that, or are working on it. And you can work on it together.
Yeah, and it's one of the things, and I do this a lot.
Yeah.
So on the East Coast, everybody's very competitive, and it's like the grind. We're always in a rush. That never suited me. And here, it's just there's something so powerful about. Again, my train of thought. What is
Slowing
happening?
down?
I'm so excited to be here. Like, I just have so many things of just.
We threw a lot at you.
Of the big energy in New Jersey versus Montana.
Yes. So I have this bad habit of thinking women here are older than they are. Not because of looks, because y'all look great. There's something in the water. Nature's amazing. But everybody's so young and successful. The amount of women-owned businesses and women business owners I've met that are like 23, 24 is insane. And it's such a beautiful thing. And everybody that 90% want to help each other. How can we collaborate? How can we help you? And that's just my love language is like, I guess
Support.
one of them, acts of service. Like I'm a hype girl. I'm just excited for everybody doing whatever they want that's going to make them happy, that you can see it glow.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I love seeing light shine in people's eyes too.
Yes.
It's just magic. We need more of that in the world.
It's like when it's a moody Montana day and then there's that sunshine that comes through.
Yes.
Maybe one of those gorgeous rainbows.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And let's transition into the idea of entrepreneurship and coming to Montana. And you have this amazing method that you obviously you came here and then all of a sudden but you had Barre Method in the past, right?
So Barre Method is a franchise.
Okay.
It's not available locally here.
Okay. Yeah. Explain all that. I love that.
So I actually I had worked at a company in New Jersey and it was a little walking town. So I found this place that said Barre Method. I had no idea what it was. And I decided, $99 for 1 month unlimited membership. Drop-ins are $18. All right, how many classes do I have to take before I feel like I'm stealing from them? How my mind works.
Yeah.
A little toxic. Trying it, and I had no idea what it was. And then I show up. Had never done this class, didn't really get a background of it. I knew it was use the ballet bar. Walking into this class, it's one of it has made me such, like, has set the foundations for who I want to be in my world of how I teach, how I want to be around others. I walk in the studio and there's so many people of different ages, ranges, body types, fitness levels. 16-year-old, there was an 80-something Marine War veteran, and awesome. He was doing his little heel lifts better than anybody in the class. Just showing up and people feeling comfortable to be there. And it wasn't jumping jacks or burpees or not doing like push-ups crazy. It was slow and supportive, and it's all about form. So no one cares. I always say this in my classes. No one cares how many reps you can do. No one cares how high your leg can go. That's not important. What's important, and this is another like just blanket statement for life, is form. So you want to make sure what you're doing is right, but also you have to listen to your body and your mind and reset. Like you can take a step back, shake it off, and get right back in it.
Yes.
And you should.
Yes.
Give yourself that permission.
Yes. So here's my thinking on that. And I love what you just said. The idea that I think sometimes you need a mix. I am not a person that's what do you call it? A CrossFit person.
Like a HIIT, intense.
Yeah, I'm not, although I think you have to train adaptability, right? You have to push your body a bit but I think for some people, like that's too aggressive for the nature of who they are, right?
Yeah.
And some people actually, that's all they want to do. They want to CrossFit, but they also need to slow the F down and do something that's more connective and slow and nurturing and
Yes.
and connected to the heart, mind, body,
The
soul.
mind-body connection is the huge. And it's so great when I teach now and I explain form and I see people click in. Like I see it click. And it is one of, I don't know, I feel like that's just fuel for my soul.
It's awesome because the mind-body connection in Barre, I've taken just a couple classes, but it is, you can be thinking and target that one muscle that you need to.
Right.
And you can get into your body and be like, wow, I just did that. I got into where it needed to be and my form's all good and I feel better because my posture is a little better, whatever.
Yeah.
There's small little movements that make a big difference.
That's it. Like a lot of on my classes, we do head to toe workout each time. So abs, arms, core, thigh, butt, feet, your calves, everything.
It's all engaged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just the difference between pointing your foot and flexing your foot in a class.
Yeah.
You're going to work many different muscle groups by just making that shift.
Yes.
And it's just as simple as that.
yeah.
Okay, let me just tell you. So I went to Stephanie's the rooftop class. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, I'm not a ballerina. Everybody around me looked like they were like the little tiny, like they could wear little leotards. And I'm like, with my oversized shirt on. And I'm just saying, I'm like, okay, I'm going to look like a fool. But it was so methodically focused. And I thought, oh, am I getting the workout in? Am I getting because I'm used to deadlifting and weightlifting and training and doing those kind of things. I was so sore the next day in spots that I'm like, how do I have it? There's a muscle.
Oh, yeah.
At the top part of my hip that's on fire.
It's great. It's like my friend once described Barre as the accessory muscle workout.
Oh, yeah.
And what I didn't think about until I was actually like living out here and doing it, Barre is the perfect exercise for Montana.
Yes.
How many different ways do we have to recreate? Hiking,
many.
biking,
Yeah.
snowboarding, skiing, rafting, all of these things, trail running even.
Yeah.
Barre is the perfect way to support your body for that. Even if you're somebody who lifts heavy weights and you're a weightlifter,
Right.
increasing your range of motion, your flexibility.
And balance.
Yeah. Oh, that's exactly it.
Core balance, like everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
The balance is the
Yeah.
first thing you lose when you age, and getting that core strength and, how to protect your low back and help with back problems.
Right.
It's, it's all about what you want to do for yourself, show up as you are. My whole process is it needs to be accessible. Barre to me is everybody, every body, every fitness range, no matter where you are in life, no matter what chapter of your journey, no matter what goals you have, Barre is for you. There's modifications for everything. I could talk about Barre all day.
And I have to add that you do something very specific that I've never seen anybody else do is you have a portable bar.
Yeah.
So if
Yes.
someone has a lawn and they're like, no, I don't want to be seen in front of anybody, Stephanie can come to your house,
Yeah, talk about that.
give you a private lesson.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
amazing. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, wow, portable. Never heard of that.
It's actually, I've had a really unique opportunity here. I've always wanted to own my own studio, and life laughs at you when you make plans. And I had left my old studio. I went to do my own thing. I wanted Barre to be very specific because that's my brand. And I found a studio that was willing to let me lease some of the space, but they didn't have a bar. They have 1,000 square foot studio and no bar.
Wow. Okay.
And I have a friend who had just opened his own company for welding. So he came in, and his girlfriend's been coming to my classes for years, and his mom comes to my classes, so they understand it. He had never been to one. So I walked him through it and showed him like what I was looking for, and he just took it and ran with it. He welded me a whole steel bar setup that goes from, it can be 5 foot, standalone, 2 little posts, or it could be 5 by 10, 5 by 20.
Wow.
There's so many ways to do this.
Modular.
And they're steel bars. So it's right on brand for rebar.
Yes.
Because rebar,
exactly.
strength from within. Yeah.
And they're going to be sturdy too.
Yes, they are. I think, and they're heavy.
Yeah.
And they're pretty. Like
Yeah.
it's heat treated. It's all fancy looking.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and it is nice because I've been able to take it up to different wedding venues to do bachelorette parties or day
fun.
of wedding. And you don't really need a bar to do bar if you're at your house. You can. I have a client, we use her bar, like her actual bar top.
Oh yeah, in the kitchen, like a kitchen bar, you mean?
Yeah. Back
Yeah.
of a couch, a chair,
Yeah,
railing, anything works. And you can do bar without a bar, but a little bit easier when you have one.
Yeah. Yeah. And the professionalism is okay. I'll bring the bar to you.
Yeah.
And I love that it's customizable and modular.
Yep.
So that's cool. Yeah. Where do you see, I could see you doing so many different cool events.
Yes, I'm really excited. I've got a friend who wants to do a Zoom class. She works for a big corporation and she wants to do a class for her team. I actually got invited. It didn't work out with timing, but to do a big Women's Day event.
good.
Live stream.
Oh.
And then loop it into stuff. When COVID hit, I was working from home. I was working out at home, couldn't go to my studio. My dad came over to my house and he took a stair railing and he installed it in my basement and set up a bar for me.
Nice.
And I put my little workout stuff down there and I got it done.
Good.
So having it and then learning that, oh, I don't have hand weights. Oh, I don't have this. What household things can I use?
Yeah.
Fun fact, you can use olive oil bottles as hand weights.
Nice.
Or if you want to get real fancy and do some wine bar, you can take 2 wine bottles. They have to be full
Yeah.
or both empty. We got to keep the weight even.
Yes.
But there's so many little things. You want a slider, you can use a towel on a hardwood floor or like a hardcover book or magazine on a carpet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Good ideas.
I love that.
I'm a very much of a MacGyver.
Yes, you are. You are.
It's not a problem. We'll fix it.
Yes.
No.
Figure it
Resourceful.
out.
Yeah.
You're
Yes.
resourceful.
Yes.
I love that. Use what you've got.
Yeah.
I love that. I have actually 2 questions. The first question is we're going to go back. I'm going to rewind
Yep.
a little bit. I like the fact that you talked about is bar is for everybody at every time of life, right? So I do feel like sometimes there are stages and phases where certain types of exercises are meant. Like, I feel like people that want to go gangbusters to do CrossFit. I've had this conversation over and over again with Czech practitioners and different type of exercise specialists. And I do think that this really does need to be talked about. Watching somebody in their 80s do a CrossFit class is terrifying, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
and jarring, and knowing the elasticity and all the things that are going on within their joints. Yes, people can do that. I'm not trying to say, and I'm not trying to say that people can't do it, but I feel like yoga, bar, all those things, you can do it and you should be doing it throughout your entire life. And I love the fact that, and I think you talked about it at one point a while back, about this getting into certain types of muscles and things like that in the body, especially
Yeah.
like in your hips for women.
Oh, yeah.
We store a ton of emotions. And if you're going through a transitional period, we just covered that. You're going through a transitional period. And during that period, women often get very tense and tight.
What is it? The body keeps the score?
Body
Yes.
keeps the score.
Yeah.
Yes, love that book.
Yep.
And but that, as we're going through phases throughout life, connecting to that piece, you do an excellent job on focusing where your hips are, where your body positioning is. And so you have the perfect method to help people through transitional phases that are going to occur throughout your entire life. And I just want
Yes.
to say that.
It doesn't happen once. You transition a lot.
Exactly.
Life is all about change.
Yes. And then secondly, I want to know, I know you are of witness to people in your classes, right?
Oh, yeah.
But what do you do for yourself? Do you turn to bar when you're like, I teach all these classes, so you're constantly teaching and doing and connecting with others. Do you then turn and do and connect with yourself through bar on your own time? What do you do?
It used to be that.
Okay.
Now I don't do it on my own, but when I teach a class, I'm always doing the moves with the class.
Okay.
Because it does help me remember what body part, what to say, belly button to spine. I've got really cute like vocal or voice cues.
And it's very visual.
Yeah. And then there's one where with a flat back, you think you're not Beyonce and you're sticking you're arching your back, you're Michael Jackson. And even like a simple visual like that, it just, people get it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's silly because it's not serious. It shouldn't be serious.
Yes. Yes.
And exercise should be fun.
Yeah,
I
and I
because
think-
it makes you want to come back again, do it.
Yes,
exactly.
I mean, I always want, like, the way that I felt leaving a bar class has never changed. Reinvigorated, re-energized, and just so like present. Yeah, I just did serious work. I literally kicked my own ass. People tell me I kick their ass. I say, I hope you kick your own ass, because there is a move where you're kicking your butt. Yeah. But that's so rewarding to me to be able to guide people through that and then see them get it. And it doesn't, maybe your goal for the day is that you just needed to leave the house. You don't think you're going to push yourself in this workout. You already pushed yourself to get here. That's a big accomplishment. I have a student who's been coming pretty regularly, maybe once or twice a week, and she does her own stuff on her own time too, a lot of strength training. And this isn't part of barre, so I'm not, just a disclaimer, you don't need to be super flexible to do barre. She's 2 inches away from doing a full split.
Wow.
And it's the seeing people challenge themselves and connecting with people and understanding, like knowing them outside of the studio. I've got like, I'm the bar girl. My dad was not very proud when I told him I'm a bar star,
Yes.
but he knows what I mean.
Yes. Yes.
Having that, like the connections fuel my soul, and people who I bond with, who I feel like is everybody who comes to my class, there's a special type of energy that's exchanged. That is so fulfilling to me. And my one wish growing up was like, I just want to be happy. I just want to be happy. And then I realized happiness is fleeting. Fulfillment is something you do for yourself.
That was beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. I just, fulfillment is something that I strive for. And there are days when I feel like crap and I don't want to leave the house to go teach. As soon as I walk through those doors, I'm alive.
Yeah.
I'm alive. And then I push through it. And I see everybody else just like working through it or whatever. And I'm very much a lead by encouragement. So it's important to me to get to know people and be able to call them by their name and say, this looks great. Oh my gosh, do you see how high your heels are in this? All of these little things where people feel seen.
Yes.
I think that's what I bring to the world is I'm here to help support people to be the best of themselves. And I'm really pride myself, which I guess isn't a great thing to say, but pride myself on being able to identify with people and show them where they're strong. Or maybe there's a part of themselves that they are not comfortable with sharing, but drawing that out of them or reaffirming what they're doing. Like I'm here to support people to be their best, whatever that looks like. I would know that if both of you or either of you were in my class, I'd be like, Julie, you look so strong, just like all the women that you put together and started this International Women's Day group. Yeah. Kate, you're so graceful and elegant. This must be what you do when you're writing all your songs and singing. Like
that relatability.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that also helps build a connection with the people in your class. Because it is a social setting.
Yes.
I don't want people to be straight-laced. We're moaning and groaning together. We're going to sing along to my bad music.
Oh, it's good. It's good. It's good
Yeah.
tracks.
I love that.
It's good.
But we're coming to the top of the hour, so we get to the fun part now where we have some random questions for you.
Yes. Yes. Steph, if you could ask your future self about one thing, what would it be?
Ask my future self about one thing.
I know.
How does it feel?
Oh, good question.
We were talking about this in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Checking yourself and being present. I don't really want to ask my future self, what are you doing? Where am I? I just want to know how it feels. Is it the right spot?
Yeah. Ooh, that's deep and chilly and tingly.
It is.
I'm thinking about it to myself. I'm starting to think, like, how does it feel? Yes.
Ponder upon that.
So
Ponder.
the second question is, when do you feel like you're the best version of yourself?
Wow.
I think you
It's
kinda
twofold.
cleared that up.
Twofold, yeah. Moving to Montana was a big change for me. I didn't get a chance in New Jersey to realize who I was. I thought when I meet people, I'm really complimentary. I'm in your face. I want you to disarm you. I didn't know I was doing it. I thought it was me being fake to keep up with people around me. And it's not the case. I realized like out here, I'm a version of myself that I never thought I could be. Like Montana and this community and I know a lot of it's the work I've done to reach out and be a part of it, but I never thought I could be this cool. And you know what? Not every day is like that.
You really
Yes.
are.
Thanks. It's being in a supportive environment where you are able to be yourself and you're given the space to be able to figure that out.
Yes.
And a huge factor is barre. Yeah. Like it's been so wonderful to make my own community, which has been community is a huge thing, especially here, especially when I'm single now, I'm divorced, I don't have family out here. And the people who show up for you.
Yes, they do. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I first met Stephanie, just to throw this out there. I first met her at one of my favorite boutiques. It's no longer there. Super sad about that. But I walked in and I was like, who is this amazing, vivacious, with this brightly colored hair and neon fingernails? Like, your signature is like that neon yellow.
I call it Lulu Lime.
Lulu Lime. Like, you are like, I was like, wow, she's like a fashion icon. And I just was like, I want to know more about this girl. And you were just a light. It was just a really fun, you were just a fun, I was like, I have to get to know her.
You came into my life at the perfect time.
Oh, and I constantly was bothering you coming in. Oh, I wonder if I was peeking in the window. Is she working? I want to pop in there and say hi.
It made my day.
Oh, well, you made my day.
She shows up with like her hot pink everything.
Oh, hot pink. It's my jam. Yeah.
And it just clicked, right?
I felt like those colors must have just drawn that piece. We were
like, on spotlights. Our own black lights that were in neon.
That's true. I love it. You are just awesome. Okay, we have one last question for you. Lastly, which Montana woman would you like to see featured on the IWD406 podcast, and why?
This has been a tough one because you guys already have a huge schedule of people that I would love. I can't wait to hear about it. I want to say Lorraine Wilson from Mountainside Lodging and Retreats. I had the opportunity to connect with her and I went up there and toured the space. And I feel like she is me with what she does, like how passionate she is. And it's just part of her. And her story to where she got there it's just beautiful.
Yeah, and she's amazing.
Yeah, it's a beautiful space, and she's just a wonderful human. And she's like similar vibe where we can go off on 1,000 tangents, and we always come back.
Yes, she is super easy to talk to. And like you said, if you have not had a chance to go to Mountainside Retreat and Lodging, it is spectacular. Like, it is a treasure for Montana. It's like that little quiet, like, luxury.
You're entering a Garden of Eden.
You are for Montana.
Wow.
It
feels very
beautiful.
Private, but you're private, but also isolated.
Oh,
nice.
I
don't know, not isolated, but just in it.
You're in it.
Present.
Yes, and Montana, and Lorraine, the owner of it, she's just warm. Like, she'll greet you as you're coming down the lane, and it's like, whoa, hi, Lorraine. Yeah.
I met with her, but I actually didn't know her first name because we were just messaging on Instagram and show up. And I didn't even ask her till about halfway through. And she's like, yeah, and what's yours? Like, it was just, but
instant rapport.
It was
just
so,
like,
yes.
So connecting.
And that energetic vibe of just seeing her in her element.
Yes.
And I know that's me.
Yes.
That's what I aspire.
Yes. Okay. So we have to tell people, how do people work with you? Like, how do they work with you and get near you and do bar? I love it.
I like to make bar as accessible as I can. So I've got reasonably priced classes. I do $15 classes. I want people to try it. And I have the incredible opportunity of my company where I can be at multiple studios and locations. So I'm not just stuck in one place. And I can come to you.
Yes.
So I'm at Ember Nutrition and Fitness a couple times a week. They're in Whitefish on 93 by China Wall in that beautiful strip mall. And then I recently got asked to be a part of Sawbuck Dojang, which is this incredible studio above Slow Burn Records downtown. And it is just a whole vibe. So it's really nice to have that freedom and flexibility in this beautiful space that's downtown Whitefish. How cool.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have an email address that someone could reach out to and say, I'd like to book an appointment or something?
Okay. If you want to learn a little bit more about what makes me different and what sets me apart, it's rebarremt.com, REARREMT.com.
Yeah.
And the email is rebarremt@gmail.com.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Stephanie, we love you. You're so amazing.
Can we do a second one of this where we just like all kind of
just have a conversation?
These very cerebral questions.
I know.
Let's do it again.
Right? Yes. No, we'll have drinks and coffee, tea, whatever we need to do. Yes. I love it.
Talk.
Yes. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for being on the podcast today.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome.
A special thank you to our podcast guest. You can find all of her links in the description of this episode. If you like what you heard, please hit subscribe. You will be notified of future podcast guests. Follow us on our social media platforms and stay tuned for our next podcast chat with an amazing Montana woman.